Hello and welcome. You've arrived at a quiet corner of time, where the sands of ancient Egypt stretch out beneath a soft, starry sky, and a sacred temple cat waits in the shadows, watching the world go by. This is a peaceful story, told slowly, with calm footsteps and warm places to rest. If you enjoy these cozy, thoughtful journeys into the past, feel free to gently tap the like button and subscribe to the channel. It helps more listeners find their way here to these soft, historical spaces where sleep and stories meet. Now, get comfortable. Let the desert breeze pass over you, and follow the cat as we begin. In ancient Egypt, not all sacred beings walked upright. Some moved low to the ground, silent, graceful, eyes like polished amber, whiskers twitching in the sunlight. To the ancient Egyptians, cats were more than animals. They were protectors. They were companions. They were in many ways divine. This is not modern projection. This is fact. Archaeological records, temple carvings, scrolls, and thousands of carefully preserved feline mummies tell the story. A story of reverence and routine, of creatures so deeply respected that they were buried with ceremony and mourned with ritual. You see, cats in ancient Egypt were not merely tolerated. They were loved. They were welcomed into homes, temples, palaces, and even into the afterlife. Some lived among grain stores, protecting precious harvests from rats and mice. Others curled on woven mats beneath royal beds, fed choice cuts of meat, and painted into family portraits. But among all these feline lives, there were some who lived even closer to the gods, the temple cats. These were the animals who made their homes in the sacred spaces of Egypt. In grand temples carved with the names of pharaohs and the symbols of deities. In the city of Bubastes, once the spiritual center of Bastet, the lioness stern cat goddess, the purring, stretching, ever-watching cat was not just welcome. It was honored. There, cats walked freely through the courtyards of temples, lay undisturbed beside priestesses mid-chant, and perched silently on limestone steps during rituals. They were believed to bring good fortune. They were seen as guardians against evil spirits. And above all, they were associated with Bastet, the goddess of protection, fertility, music, women, and domestic joy. Bastet was often depicted with the head of a cat. She embodied warmth and serenity, but also fierce protection when provoked, not unlike the animal she represented. In a land of sand, sun, and sacred stillness, cats were her messengers. They were living reminders that power could come quietly. In this documentary, you won't be watching from afar. You won't be standing on the outside, peering into history through a dusty window. Instead, you'll be taken inside, not as a priest, not as a pharaoh, but as a cat, one of the most quietly powerful presences in the ancient world. We will walk the worn stone paths of temple courtyards. We will rest in sunbeams while sacred rituals unfold. We will explore the city beyond the walls, the markets, the riverbanks, the narrow streets where children run and spices linger in the air. We will slip unnoticed through the living and the mourning and the ancient silence of tombs. And through it all, we will remain as cats always have been, still, observant, and somehow eternal. So now, close your eyes if you wish. Let the dust of the Nile settle in your mind. Breathe in the scent of lotus blossoms, warmed by morning light, and come walk with us, softly, silently, into the world of the temple cat. You begin your day not with a sound, but with a feeling, the warmth of the rising sun creeping slowly across the cool temple floor. The stone beneath your body shifts from cold to pleasantly warm, and you stretch instinctively. Spine arching, claws flexing, whiskers twitching. You are home. The temple is not yet awake. It breathes slowly in the quiet dawn, a vast body of stone and shadow. Its walls rise high above your resting place, carved with deep hieroglyphs that speak the names of gods, kings, and ages past. Massive lotus-shaped columns hold the roof high overhead, painted once in vibrant color, now faded by centuries of sun and wind. You slip silently between them, a creature more ancient than the paint. This temple belongs to Bastet, goddess of the home, of joy, music, fertility, and protection. She is your patron, your mirror, your namesake. Some see her as gentle and soft, but you know she is more. She is the one who watches and waits, the one who defends without warning, the lioness behind the mask of a cat. Around you, the first stirrings of human life begin. A young priest enters the sanctuary through the side gate, head bowed, feet bare on the worn limestone. He carries water drawn from the sacred pool, gathered before the sun broke the horizon. This water, cold and clear, will be used to wash the statue of the goddess before offerings begin. It is not ordinary water, just as this is no ordinary place. You follow him, though he does not notice you. Few ever do. That is your power. You move in silence, a presence, not a figure, a shadow that chooses to remain. Each day, temple rituals are carried out in precise order. The temple's sacred heart, the inner sanctuary, is cleaned first. Not with harsh scrubbing or noise, but with care and rhythm, as if the temple itself were a living thing. Incense is lit, filling the air with the soft scent of myrrh and frankincense. The priest chants ancient phrases, their meaning lost to all but the most learned. Still, the sound is familiar to you. You've heard it 1,000 times, perhaps more. Priestesses arrive next, veiled in white linen, hair oiled and bound. They carry woven baskets of offerings, dates, honeycomb, small clay jars of beer, and loaves of bread shaped like birds or fish. Some of the offerings will be left for Bastit's statue. Others will be taken later to the granaries or shared among the temple staff. You watch the preparations from your perch, a low ledge beside a pillar warmed by the morning sun. You blink slowly, tail curled neatly around your paws. Around you, the great temple hums with life in a slow, sacred rhythm. Time does not move here the way it does outside the walls. Inside, everything is measured in rituals, chants, footsteps, and incense smoke. Throughout the day, people come and go, some commoners bringing small gifts, others nobles dressed in finely pleated robes. Women offer flowers and speak softly before the altar. Some whisper prayers of protection for their children. Others beg for help in conceiving one. It is said that Bastet listens, that her cats, too, understand. Many stop to glance at you as they pass. A few kneel, smiling. One child, nervous, reaches out to touch your head. You allow it. Just once, then slip away between the columns like mist. Though the temple is a place of worship, it is also a place of work. Scribes sit inside chambers, their reed pens scratching across papyrus. They copy hymns and ritual texts, receipts for grain deliveries, and scrolls filled with prayers. Some work in pairs, whispering back and forth in ancient dialects. You wander among them sometimes, resting beside a stack of scrolls or curling into a tight circle on an empty lap. They do not mind. In fact, some believe your presence is a blessing, a sign of divine attention. The temple complex itself is large, with many separate courtyards and sanctuaries. Beyond the main hall are storage rooms filled with offerings, sacred oils, and ceremonial items. There are cloisters where the priestesses sleep, kitchens where stews simmer over clay hearths, and small gardens planted with herbs used in rituals. You know each path well, every shortcut through the columns, every sun-warmed patch of stone. In one quiet corner of the temple is a small room known only to the inner circle. It holds statues not meant for the public, old ones, chipped, their paint faded, but their eyes still watching. You have been there. You are welcome in every place. There are no doors closed to you. As the day moves forward, the temple fills with sound. Flutes play during midday rituals. Drums are beaten softly. Sometimes, dancers enter to honor the goddess, their arms moving slowly, feet tapping the rhythm of the Nile. You lie beside the statue of Bastet during these moments, your ears flicking with each beat, but your body still. Food is placed before the altar and left in silence. Later, it will be taken by the kitchen staff or by the poorer visitors who wait respectfully at the temple's edge. Nothing is wasted. What is offered to the gods is shared with the people, a cycle as eternal as the river. By late afternoon, the light softens again. The temple grows quieter. Visitors leave. The outer gates close. The priests return to their quarters, robes dusty with the day's rituals. The scent of the last incense lingers in the halls. You move through it like smoke. As evening approaches, the temple seems to exhale. You return to your resting place, a favorite corner where the sandstone holds the heat of the sun long after it sets. The shadows stretch across the floor like painted feathers. Somewhere outside, you hear the cry of a bird and the distant bark of a dog from the village beyond the walls. But here, there is only stillness. You curl into yourself, eyes half closed. The statue of Bastet watches from across the chamber, her eyes made of inlaid glass catching the fading light. You are not worshipped, not exactly, but you are noticed, respected, understood. Here in this temple, this house of stone, ritual, and memory, you are more than a cat. You are presence. You are patience. You are the living embodiment of something old and sacred. And tomorrow, you will rise again with the sun and begin the same quiet cycle, unnoticed by some, honored by others, moving forever through the heart of the divine. You do not speak their language, not in the way they speak it, with lips and teeth and rehearsed phrases drawn from old scrolls, but you understand them all the same, the way they move, the weight they carry, the hush in their steps when grief follows them through the door. Humans are creatures of repetition. They come and go in patterns, walking the same paths, saying the same words, lighting the same incense before the same altar each morning. But beneath that order they are always shifting, always changing, always feeling. And you, a creature of stillness, feel everything they do not say aloud. In the temple, you are more than decoration. You are presence, a witness. You sit atop stone ledges and beneath wooden benches. You stretch across the cool steps of the sanctuary or curl in the shadow of Bastet's statue. You watch the humans pass through your space as though it belonged to them. But in truth, it never did. They come with their offerings, honey and bread, copper bracelets, lotus petals folded in bowls of milk. Some bring only prayers, whispered into their palms. The walls around you have heard thousands of these prayers. But you have seen them. A woman kneeling, tears falling silently onto the floor. A father clutching a tiny toy carved from sycamore meant for a child who never arrived. A girl of 15 lighting a flame for her mother. A soldier bowing low, not for protection but for forgiveness. They do not notice you, not always. You are a shape beneath the altar, a flick of tail behind a column. But when they do, when one pauses, meeting your eyes in silence, there is a moment, as if they remember that you have always been here, that you see what they cannot say. Some come in joy, lovers bearing woven garlands, children pressed close to their mothers, giggling behind hands, musicians arriving for feast days, carrying lyres and small drums. Their laughter bounces off the columns. You follow them sometimes, weaving through ankles and skirts, drawn not to the sound, but to the energy, alive and temporary. Others come seeking justice. Priests and judges often confer in shaded corners of the temple. Accused men plead their case, voice trembling beneath the stone sky. Scrolls are unrolled, truth is measured. And you, unnoticed, curl at their feet, indifferent to guilt, but aware of imbalance. There is another kind of human you've come to know well. The scribes. They sit for hours in high-ceilinged chambers where light filters down in angled beams. Cross-legged on mats, with ink pots at their side and sharpened reeds between their fingers. They write slowly, carefully, scratching ancient knowledge onto fine sheets of papyrus. Scrolls of prayers, records of harvest, names of the dead and the living. Their fingers are stained dark from soot and ochre, and their lips move silently as they copy each line. Some of them speak to you, not in words meant to command, but gently. A greeting, a question, a hum while they work. You rest beside them, chin resting on your paws, eyes half-lidded. Their rhythm is steady. Their presence is calm. It is said, among them, that to have a cat present while writing is a sign of a well-balanced mind. That a scribe whose work is approved by a temple cat will avoid error. You do not confirm this, but you do not deny it either. Beyond the scribes and the priests are the workers, the ones who sweep the floors, tend the gardens, prepare the food in the open-air kitchens behind the sanctuary wall. These humans are quieter, not because they have less to say, but because they say it in different ways. They hum as they need bread. They laugh as they carry jugs of beer. They complain with theatrical sighs as they scrub the stone basins clean. You spend time with them often. One young gardener feeds you slices of dried fish behind the granary. Another, a cook's apprentice, leaves you bits of goat meat near the oven. You never beg. You only accept what is offered. You are neither pet nor pest. You belong to no one, and yet you are known by all. During ceremonies, you often remain still, not because you are commanded to, but because you feel the shift, the gravity, the sacred air. You sit beside the statue of Bastet, eyes closed, while songs echo through the halls. Your ears catch the flutter of linen robes, the clash of ritual sistrums, instruments made of bronze and sound. Each movement is rehearsed. Each word carries weight. Humans believe their rituals bind them to the divine. But you are already there. You have seen more ceremonies than any one priest. You've watched children become novices, watched novices become priests, and priests grow old, their chants slowed by time. You've sat beside grieving families who return year after year, praying for the same soul. You've watched new generations forget what their ancestors remembered. But you remain, quiet, unmoving, endlessly present. Humans live in seasons. In sunrises and offerings and moon cycles. They live with urgency, but you live in memory. You carry it in your paws, in the way you move through columns unchanged, in the way you rest where others once knelt. To them, you are just a cat. But to you, they are moments passing in a place that does not change. Faces and voices, sweat and laughter, sandals and scrolls, you see it all. And in your stillness, you keep it, the way only a temple cat can. Not all your time is spent within temple walls. Though you are honored there, watched, welcomed, and revered, your world does not end at the sanctuary gate. The city calls to you just as it calls to everyone. And so, some days, when the incense has faded and the priests have returned to silence, you rise and leave. You slip through the side of the temple, past stacked amphorae and woven baskets of dried herbs, and duck beneath the reed canopy where offerings are counted and sorted. A gap in the mud brick wall leads to the city beyond, and you know it well. Outside, the air changes. It smells of heat and baking grain, of dust kicked up by sandals, of sweat, clay, river water, and roasted meat. The streets are narrow and winding, pressed between high earthen walls. Some houses are painted with faded red lines, others bear family charms scratched into their thresholds. People move like currents here. Fishermen returning with wide baskets of catfish. Children dashing barefoot, chasing one another with reeds. Donkeys braying as they carry jugs of water from the Nile. Vendors call out from their shaded stalls, their voices rising in practiced melody, offering onions, beer, salt-dried fish, pomegranates, barley bread. You slip through it all unseen, your body low to the ground, weaving between sandals, always aware, never hurried. You are not afraid. They know what you are. Even the roughest hands soften at your passing. At the edge of the marketplace, an old woman squats beside a clay oven, flipping flat rounds of bread onto a wooden board. She sees you and breaks off a corner. You accept, chewing slowly. Then you rest in the shade beneath her stall as she continues her work, soot smudged across her cheek, humming to no one in particular. The market is a place of rhythm, the clink of copper, the chop of dried herbs, the swish of linen robes, the buzz of flies that never leave. Cats are common here. You see others lounging on ledges, stalking rats near the grain stalls, curled in baskets of discarded cabbage leaves. Some hiss when you draw near. Others ignore you. There is no hierarchy here. Only hunger, warmth, and instinct. You continue on, past the potter's workshop where fresh clay vessels stand drying in the sun, past the weaver's doorway strung with soft linens dyed in shades of ochre and indigo. Beyond the market is the river. The Nile, wide and slow, glistens in the afternoon light. Its banks are alive with movement, boys pushing small boats into the shallows, women rinsing cloth and laughing, fishermen dragging their nets to shore. You step carefully across a low plank and settle on a smooth rock warmed by the sun. The Nile has always been here, long before the temples, long before the prayers. It gives life, carries trade, nourishes field and flesh alike. Even now, you hear the low chanting of workers on passing barges, their voices deep and steady as they row upstream toward Thebes or down to the delta. A cat's life along the river is a life of patience. You watch the water ripple. You listen to the reeds rustle in the wind. Small birds flit nearby, unaware or uncaring of your presence. When the sun sinks lower, you rise and follow the path back toward the city, but not toward the temple. Not yet. Instead, you slip through the alleys of the residential quarters. Here, behind closed courtyards and narrow doors, the city breathes more slowly. You hear quiet conversation, the clatter of cooking pots, the rhythm of grinding stone as women prepare flour. Children nap beneath reed awnings. A small black cat, younger than you, leaps from a wall and scurries beneath a cart. You let her pass. Sometimes you visit a home you remember, a familiar scent, a doorway that always seems to be open. You leap into the courtyard and settle beside a clay water jar. A girl sees you and smiles. She says nothing, but sets down a bowl of scraps, fish bone, and soft bread soaked in broth. She returns to her work, and you eat without a word between you. In this city, no one owns you, but you are never truly alone. Egyptians know the value of a cat, not just for hunting, not just for ritual, but for presence. You are balanced, they believe, a quiet guardian of the household, a living prayer in fur and flesh. In some homes, cats are painted on walls, curled beneath chairs, chasing birds, resting beside sleeping children. You have seen these images. You recognize yourself in them. Occasionally, your paws take you farther still, past the main road and toward the edge of the city, where fields stretch out in rows and palms sway in the river wind. Farmers walk with baskets balanced on their shoulders. They speak to one another in short, clipped tones, worn from labor but always watchful. There, among the tall stalks of grain, mice move like whispers. And where there are mice, there are cats, not temple cats, not city cats, but field cats, lean, quiet, and clever. You nod in passing. They do not nod back. Eventually, as the sky begins to darken and the horizon turns gold, you begin your return. You cross back through the city, now slowing with dusk. Shops are closing. Lanterns are being lit with oil and wick. Smoke rises from cook fires. The last of the market calls fade into the cooling air. You slip through the same wall in the temple's rear, the scent of myrrh returning to your nose as you pass beneath the familiar archway. You are not late. The temple never measures time in hours, only in rituals. You've seen the town. You've watched the people, and now you return to stillness. No one asks where you've been. No one questions your path. You are the temple cat, but you belong to all of Egypt. There are places in Egypt where few dare to linger. Places where the air hangs heavy with silence, where no prayers are spoken aloud, and where the sun seems to dim at the threshold. These are the places of the dead. You have walked there, not as a mourner nor as a priest, not in duty or in grief, but in stillness, in understanding. The temple is a place of life, daily cycles of ritual and renewal, but the tomb is a place of memory, of endings carefully prepared for and never truly finished. When your paws touch the cool earth at the edge of the tomb builder's village, there is no fear, only quiet. Deir el-Medina, a community of artisans and laborers who built the eternal homes of pharaohs, rests not far from the temples. Low homes of mud brick nestle in narrow lanes, surrounded by stone quarries and distant cliffs. The people here do not rule. They shape the resting places of those who did. You walk among their walls at dusk. Children chase each other with reeds, men return with toolkits wrapped in linen, women sweep courtyards clean of dust. Their work is sacred. So is yours. Beyond the village, the tombs begin, carved into cliffs, sealed in sand, painted with stories. The entrances are marked with symbols, the eye of Horus, the name of the king, the jackal-headed god Anubis painted in profile. You have walked to the edge of these halls, peering in from the sun into the world of the dead. The air changes there. It smells of stone, oil, and stillness. Inside, the tomb walls are alive with color. Blues, reds, golds, and blacks drawn in perfect lines. Scenes of the afterlife unfold like scrolls, the deceased offering to Osiris, the weighing of the heart, boats crossing the sacred river of the night. You do not step inside, but you feel what they mean. The humans built these tombs not to escape death, but to prepare for it, to shape it, to give it rules. Even in the afterlife, they believed one must bring food, clothing, amulets, and spells. One must be protected, and who better to guard them than a cat? In some tombs, there are paintings of you sleek, golden-eyed, seated upright beside offerings, not drawn in haste, but with precision, as if your image carried weight beyond its shape. There are stories, too, passed among priests and workers, of cats who sensed when a spirit lingered, of cats who would sit outside tombs the night before a burial, eyes fixed on the door. They were never chased away, only watched, with a quiet respect. You know the necropolis near Bubastes, the city of Bastard. There beneath the dusty ground lie thousands of your kind, mummified with care, wrapped in fine linen, laid in small wooden coffins carved in feline shapes. Some were pets, buried beside their owners. Others were sacred temple cats, honored for years of presence and protection. Still others were offerings themselves, raised in temple precincts, preserved as gifts to the goddess. The process was no less careful than for a nobleman. Priests anointed the cat's body with oils, packed the abdomen with resin and linen, bound the limbs tightly, and placed amulets near the heart. The eyes were sometimes replaced with glass or obsidian. A mask might be painted onto the wrappings, whiskers, stripes, even jewelry. And then they were sealed in jars, boxes, or simple clay urns, laid to rest beneath the earth. A feline afterlife alongside that of kings. You have walked above their resting places. Thousands of lives now silent, but not forgotten. There is no fear here either, only remembrance. In the cool tunnels beneath the temples, where few tread and none speak, you sometimes find yourself alone. The smell of dust and stone surrounds you. Hieroglyphs rise along the walls like vines, names, prayers, spells, praises to Bastet and Ra, and those long since buried. You pause in these places. You do not rush. You do not chase the past. You carry it. It is said that to walk with a cat is to be between worlds, never fully here, never fully there. A creature of thresholds, neither day nor night, neither silence nor song. And so you wander between life and death, as you always have. At the edge of one tomb, you find an offering bowl still uncollected. Inside, a piece of dried fish, a lotus flower, and a carved ivory cat no bigger than a thumb. Someone remembered, someone always does. You sit for a time in the shade of the cliff wall. The desert wind moves softly across the sand. The distant voices of workers echo in the canyon. But around you, all is still. The dead do not rise. They do not speak, but they are not gone. They linger in names, in carvings, in memory. And you, the quiet observer, remain with them. Not to mourn, not to explain, but simply to be. You are not afraid of death. You have seen too much for fear. You are older than dynasties, older than language. You are the one who never looks away. And in this place of endings, you continue, soft-footed, sharp-eyed, sacred. The temple changes as the sun disappears. What was once golden, bright, and warm now slips into blue, into silence. The great pillars cast long shadows across the flagstone floor. The final offerings have been taken away. The voices of the priests are gone. The music is quiet. Only the hush of torchlight and wind remains. This is your time. At night, you are not just a cat. You are the guardian of memory, the keeper of stillness. The gates are shut, but the temple is never truly closed. Sacred things do not sleep. They wait, and you wait with them. You walk the halls without a sound. Your paws leave no mark on the stone. Your body blends with shadow and firelight. The air is cooler now, carrying the scent of incense still clinging to the drapery, and the faint tang of oil from lamps that flicker in niches along the walls. Above you, the stars begin to appear in the high courtyard. The same stars that watched the first temples rise. The same stars the priests charted on scrolls of ink and linen, measuring the will of the gods by their movements. A lone flame dances beside the statue of Bastet. You move toward her. She sits carved in polished stone, her feline face calm, knowing, eternal. Eyes inlaid with obsidian and green glass catch the torchlight and reflect it back like your own. You curl beside her feet, your body a mirror of her pose. No chants fill the air now. No drums or flutes echo from the sanctuary. Only the soft chirp of insects in the temple gardens. Only the wind shifting through open doorways, carrying with it the scent of the Nile. Somewhere deep in the city, a dog barks. Somewhere far beyond the hills, a jackal cries to the desert sky. But within these walls, there is only peace. The priests sleep in their quarters, wrapped in linen, dreaming of scrolls and rituals. The cook lies curled near the oven. The guards on the outer walls doze in turns. But you remain awake. This is not your time for dreams. This is your time to watch. You cross through the temple's inner court, leaping softly onto a low parapet warmed by the last heat of the day. From here you can see the whole complex, the gardens, the reflecting pools, the stone path to the sacred lake. You've walked each of them. You know them better than any priest. You look skyward. The moon hangs above the temple now, pale and round, like a silver scarab watching from above. The goddess Nut, they say, stretches across the sky each night, swallowing the sun and giving birth to it again each morning. You have watched that cycle your whole life. It never changes. Only the humans do. You return to the sanctuary once more before sleep. The air there is thick with silence. It clings to the pillars like cloth, wraps itself around the altar, and settles in your fur. You pause near the scribe's chamber, empty now, but the scent of ink and papyrus lingers. You remember the sound of his pen, the quiet joy of the young apprentice who left a corner of fish for you each morning. Memories are folded in these walls, tucked behind statues, hidden in cracks in the stone. You carry them all. At last you return to your place, a small depression in the floor beside the offering table, where the stone has been warmed smooth by years of your rest. You lower your body slowly, curl into yourself, and close your eyes halfway. You do not sleep immediately. You listen to the crackle of a dying torch, to the soft drip of water from the purification basin, to the movement of air, slow and sure, passing over the walls of the temple that has stood longer than most names are remembered. This temple will still be here tomorrow, and the day after. It will outlive many who walk its halls. And you will remain, not in body perhaps, but in presence, in the memory of a cat who watched. The sacred spaces are always watching back, but few notice, fewer still understand. You do not need to understand, you only need to be. And here, in the dark, cool stillness of the temple night, that is more than enough. As the night deepens, the temple grows quieter still. The last flicker of torchlight fades, swallowed by shadow. Outside, the desert wind shifts softly, carrying with it the stories of countless generations. You remain, ever watchful, ever present. In ancient Egypt, time was not measured as simply as in the world today. It was a cycle, eternal, repeating, a seamless dance between day and night, life and death, seen and unseen. The gods themselves moved within this cycle, embodying the forces that shaped existence. You too exist in this space, neither merely animal nor spirit, but something in between, a guardian of thresholds, a creature of both earth and eternity. For thousands of years, cats have walked these lands, silent companions to kings and peasants alike. They have prowled temple corridors, stalked the edges of desert tombs, and curled in the laps of scribes. They have been protectors, hunters, symbols, and sacred messengers. Bastet, the goddess you serve, was once a lioness, fierce and wild. But as centuries passed, her image softened into that of the domestic cat, graceful, watchful, tender. She represents the balance of life, joy and protection, calm and power, home and wildness. When the people of Egypt looked upon you, they did not see just a creature of fur and claw. They saw the living embodiment of their goddess's qualities, the gentle strength that guards the hearth, the quiet vigilance that chases away unseen dangers. This reverence is not lost to time. Archaeologists have uncovered thousands of mummified cats, lovingly wrapped and carefully placed in tombs, each one a testament to the sacred bond between human and feline. Some cats were laid to rest with jewelry, their collars still gleaming with beads and precious stones. Others were buried in mass cemeteries near temples, offerings meant to secure favor and protection. You are part of this story. Every step you take across these ancient stones carries the weight of millennia. You walk in the footsteps of countless cats who came before you, each one a silent witness to history. Beyond the temple, the world moves and changes. Kings rise and fall, cities flourish and fade. The Nile continues its eternal journey, bringing life and renewal. But you remain a constant. The temple is your home, but your domain extends far beyond its walls. You are a thread woven through the fabric of Egyptian life. In the early morning light, you have seen fishermen casting their nets into the river, hoping for the day's catch. You have watched children playing beneath palm trees, their laughter a bright contrast to the solemn chants of priests. You have followed traders as they navigated dusty roads, carrying goods from distant lands, lapis lazuli from Afghanistan, incense from Punt, gold from Nubia. Through it all, you move quietly, observing, neither interrupting nor demanding, just being. The Egyptians believed that cats had the power to ward off evil spirits, that their presence alone could protect homes from harm. This belief was so strong that harming a cat was considered a grave offense, sometimes punishable by death. You embody this protection, a living talisman. At night, when shadows grow long and strange, it is you who keeps watch. Your eyes reflect the moonlight, glowing with a fierce serenity. You patrol the temple grounds, silent and sure, a presence felt but unseen. This vigilance is not new. Ancient texts speak of cats fighting off snakes and scorpions, dangers common in the sun-baked land. They are creatures perfectly adapted to survival, blending beauty and utility. Hunters and guardians in one. You carry these qualities with you, now as then. As the stars wheel slowly overhead, you think of the countless humans who have passed through this place, worshippers, workers, rulers, all connected by their faith, their hopes, their fears. You remember the stories told by the priests of gods walking the earth in animal form, of sacred animals embodying divine power. You know your place among them. You are a bridge. Between worlds, between life and death, between the sacred and the everyday, your presence is a reminder that even in the quietest moments, the softest footfall, the gentlest purr, there is power, there is meaning, there is life. And as dawn approaches once more, painting the horizon with soft pinks and golds, you prepare to begin again, to rise with the sun, to walk the temple halls, to watch, to wait, to protect. You are the temple cat, the eternal watcher, the sacred guardian, and your story, like Egypt itself, will never truly end. You arrive in a world shaped by the rhythms of the Nile. The sun rises low over the vast river, casting golden light on fertile fields where grain sways softly in the breeze. It is a land alive with life. Fish dart beneath the water's surface, birds call in the palm groves, and the first humans of this ancient time begin their day. But beneath the surface of this ordinary morning, a quiet presence begins to stir. It is the cat. Long before temples were built and gods were named, the ancestors of the domestic cat prowled along the Nile's edge. These early felines were wild and wary, their sleek bodies moving silently among reeds and rocky outcrops. They hunted mice and snakes, keeping the balance between life and destruction. The people of this land noticed. They saw the cat's grace and power, its sharp eyes that missed nothing, and the way it moved like a shadow, unseen but always there. Over time, these animals became more than just wild hunters. They became symbols, guardians, sacred creatures. The story begins here at the roots of reverence. Cats first came into human settlements as protectors. Granaries stored precious grain, vital for survival, but they also attracted rodents. The damage was costly. Cats were natural hunters, and their presence kept the food safe. Humans and cats formed a quiet alliance, one born not of words, but of necessity and respect. You imagine this early relationship, cats slipping through homes, weaving between legs, alert for the slightest movement of a rat or mouse. Humans watching, learning, appreciating. But it was not only practical. The Egyptians soon came to see cats as connected to the divine. The sun god Ra, the goddess Isis, and many others were part of a complex spiritual world. Among them, Bastet emerged, a goddess who took the form of a lioness and later a domestic cat. She was a protector of the home, a guardian against evil, and a symbol of fertility and joy. You can almost hear the priests' voices rising in the temple, chanting her praises. Their words carry power, weaving the cat into the fabric of their beliefs. Bastit's dual nature was profound. Fierce and wild as a lioness, she protected the pharaoh and the land. Gentle and nurturing as a house cat, she watched over families, children, and hearths. Her image appears in statues and amulets, often a woman with a cat's head, sometimes a full cat poised with alert eyes and graceful limbs. To look upon Bastet was to see the balance of strength and tenderness. Cats became sacred in ways few other animals did. They were believed to hold protective magic. Their eyes were said to reflect the sun's light, and their ability to see in darkness connected them to the unseen world of spirits and gods. You think of the first festivals dedicated to Bastet, held in Bubastes, where thousands would gather in celebration. Music filled the air, drums, flutes, and joyful singing. People danced in honor of the goddess, while cats were carried in procession, revered as living embodiments of her spirit. But the reverence came with rules. Harming a cat was unthinkable. It was a crime that could bring severe punishment. The cat was protected by law and by custom. The temple cats, those who lived within the sacred precincts, were especially honored. They ate well, resting on cushions or cool stone. Priests cared for them carefully, understanding their role as spiritual guardians. You see yourself moving among these temple walls, silent and unseen, watching the flow of offerings, rituals, and prayers. The cats are not mere animals here. They are revered beings, mediators between human and divine. The bond between cats and humans deepened with time. Cats were often depicted in tomb paintings, curled beside their owners or stalking through gardens. They were part of daily life, companions, hunters, and symbols of good fortune. The Egyptians understood something profound about cats. Their independence, their mystery, their silent watchfulness, all these qualities mirrored the god's own nature. The cat's gaze seemed to pierce through illusions, seeing what others could not. You follow this journey further, from the early wild cats at the Nile's edge to the regal temple cats who received offerings and prayers. The path is long and layered. It is a story of respect earned, of sacred trust built over centuries, and you are part of it. In this ancient world, where gods walked among men and animals, where every creature held meaning, the cat was a living link, a symbol of protection, mystery, and grace. You settle into this knowledge, feeling it deep within your bones. You are not just a cat. You are a guardian, a sacred presence, a timeless watcher, and your story begins here. You move like a shadow across the warm earth, your paws silent on stone and sand alike. Your body is made for this land, sleek, flexible, and alert. Every muscle, every whisker, every sharp claw is shaped by countless generations of survival. You are a hunter. Long before humans built temples or carved hieroglyphs, your ancestors roamed wild. The African wildcat, your earliest kin, stalked the grasses and rocky outcrops along the Nile's fertile banks. They were solitary hunters, relying on sharp senses and quiet patience to catch prey. Your eyes, bright and reflective, are made for low light. Dawn and dusk, the times when the desert cools and the world softens, are your hours of greatest vigilance. Your pupils narrow to thin slits in bright sun, expanding wide in the twilight to capture every glimmer of movement. You hunt with precision. A flick of your ears catches the faintest rustle of grass. Your whiskers, highly sensitive, detect subtle changes in air and texture, guiding you when vision alone is not enough. In the granaries and homes of ancient Egypt, your skills are in demand. Grain stores brim with precious wheat and barley, the fruits of human labor and the lifeblood of civilization. But grain attracts rodents, mice and rats eager to feast. You are their greatest enemy. You slip quietly through these spaces, unseen and unheard. You track the quick scurry of a mouse's tail beneath broken pottery. Your muscles coil, and with a swift, practiced leap, you capture your prey. Each catch protects the community's food supply and earns you respect. Snakes, too, are common dangers in this sun-baked land. You recognize their slithering shapes, their sudden strikes. Your reflexes are honed to avoid their venomous fangs, but when necessary, you confront them boldly. Ancient stories speak of cats standing their ground, defending the home and hearth against these silent killers. Your body is perfectly adapted for this life. Your retractable claws remain sharp and clean, ready to grip or climb as needed. Your flexible spine allows you to twist midair, land lightly, and sprint with bursts of speed. Your tail, long and balanced, aids your graceful leaps and steady prowls. Your coat is a camouflage of muted golds and browns, blending with the desert sands and reed-lined riverbanks. This natural disguise helps you remain hidden from prey and predators alike. Your senses extend beyond sight and touch. Your hearing picks up the slightest shift, a beetle moving across papyrus, the distant rustle of a bird. Your scent guides you as much as your eyes, marking territories and signaling presence. Life in temple precincts and towns offers variety. Here, you find more than hunting grounds. The priests and families offer scraps, bits of fish, bread soaked in broth, small portions of meat. These gifts supplement your diet, connecting you closely to human life. Yet you remain independent, never reliant. Your hunting is both necessity and ritual, a dance between survival and grace. You rest often, curling into tight circles in warm patches of sun or soft shadows. Your breathing slows, rhythmic and steady. Your eyes close but remain alert to the faintest sound. When you sleep, your body relaxes but your senses stay ready. Your whiskers twitch with dreams of prowling. Your ears flick at distant noises. Even in rest, you are a sentinel. Your movement is poetry in motion. You pad softly over stone floors and packed earth, your steps measured and purposeful. Your tail rises in greeting or curls in contentment. You arch your back in stretching, muscles rippling beneath your fur. Hunting is a game of patience. You stalk slowly, crouching low. Your muscles coil like springs. Time seems to slow as you focus on a single target, a mouse nibbling near a grain sack or a lizard sunning on a wall. Then with lightning speed you pounce. The moment is sharp, clean, final. You carry your prey gently to a hidden spot, your prize both nourishment and a gift to those who protect you. In the cool nights, you are both hunter and guardian. Your presence wards off unseen threats. You patrol the temple grounds and village alleys, a silent protector against rodents, snakes, and darker spirits whispered about in ancient tales. The humans sense your power. They know that your watchful eyes and swift movements keep danger at bay. This is why they honor you, why they place you near their gods, and why your image graces walls and amulets. You embody balance between wildness and domesticity, danger and protection, mystery and familiarity. In this ancient world, your biology and behavior are sacred tools. Tools that have earned you a place not just in homes, but in hearts and temples. You are a living symbol of grace and survival, a creature both natural and divine. And as you move through the sunlit fields, the bustling towns, and the quiet temples, your legacy continues, written not in stone or papyrus, but in every silent step, every flick of your tail, and every watchful gaze. You awaken to the soft light of dawn filtering through the temple's open colonnades. The air is cool, carrying the scent of Nile mud and blooming lotus. Stretching your limbs, you rise from your favored resting spot, a patch of sun-warmed stone near the temple entrance. The day begins slowly, with a quiet hum of activity unfolding around you. As you step lightly across the smooth floors, your paws barely make a sound. You observe the world waking up. Near the scribe's chamber, a man dips his reed brush into thick black ink. He leans over a fresh sheet of papyrus, steadying his hand as he carefully draws hieroglyphs, elegant symbols that tell stories of gods, kings, and ordinary life. You watch as his fingers glide over the surface, tracing lines that will live for thousands of years. Occasionally, he pauses, dipping the brush again, concentrating. Beside him, a small bowl of milk waits, a silent gift left for you. In the courtyard, the priests prepare for the morning ritual. Their white robes rustle softly as they move. They arrange bowls filled with fresh water, bread, and fruit upon the stone altar. Incense burners release fragrant smoke, curling upward in slow spirals. The priests chant in low voices, words older than any living memory. You sit nearby, attentive, feeling the sacred energy in the air. Outside the temple walls, the town begins to stir. Farmers emerge from their mud brick homes, greeting the new day with quiet determination. They carry baskets woven from palm fronds, filled with freshly harvested vegetables or bundles of grain. You follow their footsteps along narrow paths, slipping through tall grasses that sway gently in the morning breeze. By the river, fishermen prepare their boats. Nets are mended, oars polished smooth from years of use. The men push their vessels into the shimmering water, the ripples catching the first light. You perch on a low dock, watching as the boats drift quietly on the Nile's surface. Occasionally, a fish jumps, sending silver flashes through the water, a reminder of the river's bounty. Back in the village, artisans begin their work. A potter spins his wheel, shaping soft clay into vessels that will hold grain, water, or oil. His hands are steady, coated in damp earth. You weave through his workshop, brushing past drying pots lined like sentinels along the sunlit shelves. Nearby, a weaver tightens threads on a loom, creating intricate patterns of linen fabric. The rhythmic clack of the shuttle fills the air, blending with the murmur of daily life. Throughout it all, you remain a silent observer, a thread connecting these moments. As the sun climbs higher, the temple courtyard grows warmer. The priests offer food to the gods, loaves of bread, honey cakes, figs, and pomegranates. You move among the offerings, occasionally rewarded with a small piece of bread or fish left behind. In the market, merchants arrange their goods. Spices from distant lands, brightly colored beads, woven baskets, and polished stones. The scents mingle, frankincense, myrrh, fresh herbs, a fragrant tapestry of trade. Children chase one another near the wells, laughter ringing out softly. They pause to stroke your fur or dangle a small toy before your paws. You indulge their play briefly before slipping away to your next perch. As afternoon approaches, the heat slows the world. People rest in shaded areas, fanning themselves or sipping cool water. You find a cool spot beneath a fig tree, curling into a tight ball to nap. Your dreams are soft, images of the river's gentle flow, the rustle of palm leaves, the warm embrace of the sun. Even as the day fades, the rhythms continue. Priests begin preparations for evening prayers. Lamps are lit, casting flickering shadows across temple walls. Incense burns steadily, filling the air with sweet smoke. The chanting returns, low and steady, weaving a calming spell over all who listen. You settle near the altar once more, your eyes half closed but alert. The temple's sacred energy surrounds you, a blanket of peace and purpose. As night falls, the world quiets. The stars emerge, bright and steady, watching over the Nile and its people. You move to your favorite resting place, a ledge overlooking the temple gardens, where the scent of jasmine and lotus lingers in the cool air. Here you rest, your body relaxed, your mind calm. You have walked through another day in this ancient world, a day filled with quiet labor, devotion, and simple joys. You are both observer and participant, a timeless presence amid the flow of life. And as the night deepens, you close your eyes, ready to watch again when dawn returns. You step lightly through a world built of stone and sunlight, earth and water, a world shaped by the river that breathes life into the desert. The Nile is the heart of this land, a flowing ribbon of life that runs from distant mountains to the sea. It moves with a steady, timeless rhythm, rising in the summer, swelling the fields with fertile water, then retreating to reveal rich soil beneath. This cycle shapes everything: the crops that grow, the cities that thrive, the very architecture that shelters and protects. Temples rise from the earth like monuments to eternity. Their walls are carved from limestone, sandstone, and granite, heavy stones hewn and polished by countless hands. The air inside these structures is cool and still, thick with the scent of incense and ancient stone. Massive columns, shaped like papyrus stalks or lotus blossoms, support vast roofs. They create shadowed halls where sunlight filters through narrow openings, casting patterns of light and dark that shift with the sun's slow journey. The floors are smooth and worn, reflecting thousands of years of footsteps, those of priests, pilgrims, and sacred cats like you. Walls are covered with hieroglyphs, stories, prayers, and depictions of gods, animals, and kings. Colors remain vivid, deep blues, rich reds, and shining golds, telling tales of creation and power. You wander through these corridors, feeling the weight of history pressing gently around you. Outside the temple, courtyards bloom with life. Gardens are carefully tended, lush with fragrant flowers, lotus, jasmine, and hibiscus. Tall palms sway in the warm breeze, their fronds whispering soft secrets. Pools of clear water mirror the sky and the towering columns, rippling gently as dragonflies skim the surface. In these quiet spaces, life and spirituality mingle. Statues of gods rest beside pools, their eyes gazing out across the garden paths where priests walk in contemplation. Beyond the temple lies the town. Mud-brick homes cluster close together, their flat roofs catching the sun's heat during the day and releasing it slowly at night. Narrow streets wind between walls coated in white plaster, cool to the touch. Doors and windows are small, keeping the desert heat out and the shade in. Courtyards bustle quietly, women grind grain with stone tools, children play beneath woven awnings, and merchants prepare their goods for the market. The market itself is a sensory feast. Brightly colored fabrics hang from wooden frames. Spices scent the air with aromas of cumin, coriander, and cinnamon, and fresh fruits gleam like jewels in the sun. The soft murmur of bargaining voices blends with the clatter of pottery and the occasional bray of a donkey. Here, life pulses with gentle energy, a balance between work and rest, noise and calm. Further still, the desert edges stretch away, vast, sun-baked plains dotted with scrub and rocks. The wind moves softly, stirring sand and dust, shaping the land slowly over time. At night, stars blanket the sky, clear and unchanging. Constellations mapped by ancient eyes tell stories of gods and heroes, their light reaching down to watch over the land. The Nile remains the constant thread through all of this. Its annual flooding is both a blessing and a miracle. When waters rise, fields fill with fresh nutrients. Farmers plant seeds, trusting the cycle to nourish the earth. Life returns with abundance. Grains ripen, animals graze, and communities grow. Without the river, this ancient world would be harsh and barren. But with it, life flourishes. You feel the pulse of this land in every stone, every leaf, every breeze. You move through temples, gardens, and markets, a silent witness to the enduring harmony between people and place. This is a world where architecture and environment breathe together, a living landscape shaped by water, stone, and spirit. And you, graceful and watchful, are part of it all. You have lived through the rise and fall of dynasties, the shifting sands of power and time. You have prowled silent through the ages, an unchanging presence amid human triumph and turmoil. Your eyes have seen the hands that shaped Egypt's destiny, kings and queens crowned in gold, priests chanting ancient prayers, builders carving stone that would last forever. But you are not concerned with names or dates. History flows like the Nile, endless and cyclical, and you move with its current. Long ago, you first felt the excitement of great works beginning, the massive stones being hauled into place for pyramids that would reach toward the heavens. The air was thick with dust and sweat, the calls of workers mingling with the clatter of tools. You remember the slow, steady rhythm of construction, the careful measurements, the endless procession of laborers. You slinked between shadows, watching as humans toiled for their pharaohs, believing these monuments would grant them eternal life. To you, it was both distant and close, a grand act that shaped the land, but one you witnessed quietly, unseen. Through centuries, rulers rose and fell. Some brought peace, others war. Some sought glory, others wisdom. You watched as cities grew, temples expanded, and people gathered to honor gods old and new. You saw the daily life beneath these grand changes, farmers tending their fields, children playing in dusty streets, artisans shaping clay and metal. You observed the social order, pharaohs at the pinnacle, priests and scribes weaving words of power, craftsmen and laborers building the foundation, all interconnected, like the threads of a finely woven tapestry. Your presence was constant, a silent thread through the shifting patterns of human endeavor. You felt the reverence and fear humans held for the divine, the way they offered prayers and sacrifices, sought protection and favor. You understood your role in this delicate balance. As the centuries passed, foreign lands brought new influences, traders, conquerors, strangers with different customs and gods. Yet the essence of Egypt endured, like the Nile itself. You sensed the quiet resilience of this land, reflected in the eyes of its people and in your own steady watchfulness. In times of peace, festivals filled the streets with color and music. You moved among crowds, basking in the warmth of celebration, the laughter and dance. In darker times, when conflicts arose or famine struck, you felt the tension in the air, the worry etched on faces, the hurried steps of those seeking safety. Through all this, you remained a guardian, protector of homes, sacred spaces, and secrets. You witnessed moments of tenderness, a mother cradling her child, a scribe carefully inscribing words of hope, a priest lighting a candle for the departed. You saw the cycle of life and death, birth and renewal, played out in countless forms. Your gaze reaches beyond time's constraints. You are both participant and observer, a living symbol of continuity. And as new generations rise to take their place, you move alongside them, ever watchful, ever present. You are more than a cat. You are a keeper of memory, a bridge between past and present, a guardian of stories that cannot be spoken but are felt deeply. And in your silent way, you carry the soul of Egypt itself. You move softly, a shadow between worlds, between the earthly realm of the living and the mysterious realms beyond sight. To the ancient Egyptians, this boundary was thin, fragile, and sacred. You, the cat, are uniquely gifted to walk it. Your eyes glow with a strange, quiet light in the dark, a light that, they say, can pierce the veil between life and death, between the seen and the unseen. To the people of this ancient land, you are not just an animal. You are a living connection to the gods, to the spirits, and to magic itself. Throughout Egypt, cats are wrapped deeply into the rituals that weave together life, death, and the divine. You are present in healing ceremonies, protective rites, funerary customs, and mystical beliefs. Healing and protective rituals. You have been honored in countless temples dedicated to Bastet, the goddess who embodies your dual nature, fierce protector and gentle guardian. Priests and priestesses call upon your spirit during healing rituals. In dimly lit chambers scented with incense, frankincense, myrrh, and lotus, they gather around sacred altars, chanting prayers that invoke your grace. You sit nearby, calm and serene, your presence believed to channel Bastet's protective power. Oils infused with fragrant herbs, cinnamon, juniper, and cedar, are gently applied to your fur, enhancing the spiritual energy you carry. Beaded collars made from carnelian and lapis lazuli glint softly in the flickering candlelight, symbolizing your sacred status. The faithful bring offerings of milk, bread, and fresh fish, laying them at your paws. They hope to earn your favor, to invite protection from disease and misfortune. Children stroke your fur with reverence, their whispered prayers mingling with the gentle hum of temple chants. Your sharp senses and quiet strength are thought to ward off invisible evil. Stories abound of cats standing guard against malignant spirits, their eyes flashing as they confront unseen foes. Your claws, so deadly to snakes and rodents, become symbols of spiritual defense, guarding homes and temples alike. In some rituals, statues of Bastet are adorned with your likeness, small figures carved from alabaster or bronze, placed at doorways to protect the household. Your living presence reinforces these talismans, making the protective magic tangible. Connection to the spirit world. The ancient Egyptians believed that you were a mediator between worlds. When night falls and the veil thins, you roam freely between the land of the living and the mysterious afterlife. Your ability to see in the dark is seen as a gift from the gods, enabling you to perceive spirits that humans cannot. Priests would often consult cats during important decisions, interpreting their movements or behavior as signs from the divine. A cat's sudden hiss, a slow blink, or a graceful stretch might carry meaning, guiding the choices of kings and commoners alike. You are both revered and sometimes feared for this power. The silent watcher who sees beyond, funerary rites and guardianship of souls. Perhaps your most sacred role is in the rites of death and the journey to the afterlife. When a person dies, Egyptians believed their soul, called the Ka, needed protection and guidance to reach the next world safely. You, as a cat, become a vital guardian in this process. Your likeness is often found in tomb paintings, curled protectively near the deceased. You watch over the tomb's entrance, keeping evil spirits and harmful creatures at bay. Mummified cats, carefully wrapped in linen and sometimes buried alongside their owners, serve as eternal companions. These sacred animals continue their guardianship beyond death, ensuring the soul's safe passage. In some cases, cats were buried in large numbers near temples dedicated to Bastet, their presence believed to bring blessings and protection to the community. Amulets shaped like cats were worn by the living and placed with the dead, symbols of Bastet's watchful eye and fierce protection. These charms were carved from materials like faience, obsidian, and gold, glittering with sacred power. The presence of cats in funerary rituals reflects a deep trust in their spiritual power. They were seen as psychopomps, guides who escort souls through the perilous afterlife, shielding them from danger. The mystical and everyday. Your sacred role was not confined to grand temples and elaborate rituals. In everyday life, you embodied the balance of magic and nature. The soft purring that vibrates through your body was believed to have healing properties, a soothing force that calmed the spirit and eased pain. Your movements were poetry, graceful and deliberate, each step measured as if weaving a spell. You padded silently over sun-warmed stones, your tail flicking with a language only the divine could understand. At night, you were said to protect homes from evil spirits and nightmares. Your watchful eyes kept vigil over sleeping children and resting families, your presence a comfort in the darkness. Stories told of cats who appeared as guardians in dreams, their forms shifting between feline and divine, delivering messages or warnings. The eternal bond. This bond between cats and the spiritual world endured across centuries. You are both animal and deity, servant and symbol. Your presence in ancient Egypt was a constant thread, connecting life and death, the earthly and the heavenly. And through it all, you walk silently, a sacred guardian of secrets and souls. As night settles over the ancient land, the world softens. Shadows lengthen, and the temple cat stirs from its sun-warmed rest, its eyes gleaming in the cool darkness. You move quietly beneath the wide sky, a silent guardian beneath stars that have watched over Egypt since time immemorial. The tale of Bastet and Apophis. Long ago, before the dawn of history, when the world was still young, there was a time of great chaos. The serpent Apophis, embodiment of darkness and destruction, sought to devour the sun god Ra and plunge the world into eternal night. But Bastet, the fierce goddess with the body of a woman and the head of a lioness, rose to defend the order of the cosmos. Her eyes blazed like twin suns, and her claws shone sharp as lightning. She prowled the edges of the sky, stalking the serpent as he slithered through the shadows. You imagine the battle, vast and eternal, played out between these two primal forces. Bastet leaps and strikes, swift and unyielding, her roar echoing across the heavens. Apophis coils and thrashes, trying to escape her grasp, but she is relentless. Each night, the temple cat you embody carries this ancient spirit, the guardian who keeps darkness at bay. In your silent vigil, you honor Bastet's strength and grace, a living symbol of light triumphing over chaos. Creation myths and the birth of the world. The Egyptians believed the universe was born from the watery chaos known as Nun. From this endless, dark expanse, the first mound of earth, called the Benben, rose. On this sacred mound, the sun god Ra appeared, bringing light and life. You wander through this primordial landscape, sensing the sacred power that birthed all things. The sky is a vast, shimmering canopy, held aloft by the goddess Nut, whose body arches gracefully over the earth. The gods, Osiris, Isis, Seth, and others, take their places, weaving stories of love, death, and rebirth that shape the world's rhythm. You are there, a witness to these unfolding dramas, your eyes reflecting the unfolding mysteries. The journey of the soul. When a person dies, their soul must navigate the perilous Jewet, the Egyptian underworld. Guided by spells from the Book of the Dead, they face challenges, demons, and judgment before reaching the Field of Reeds, a paradise of eternal peace. You move alongside these souls, a silent protector. Your presence wards off threats, your gaze steady and calm. In tombs, your image is carved and painted as a guide, a guardian, a friend. The stars and the night sky. Above, the stars shine with timeless brilliance. The Egyptians mapped the heavens with reverence, naming constellations after gods and sacred animals. Orion, associated with Osiris, the god of the afterlife, rises in the east, a herald of resurrection and hope. The Great Bear's circumpolar stars never set, symbolizing eternity and the unending cycle of life. You gaze upward, your eyes reflecting the glittering cosmos. The Milky Way stretches like a celestial river, mirroring the Nile below. Each star is a story, a piece of divine order against the vastness of night. The temple cat's nocturnal watch. As the world sleeps, you patrol silently. Your paws press softly against stone and sand, your senses alert to the whispers of night. The cool air carries scents of lotus and desert herbs, mingled with distant sounds. The soft rustle of palm leaves, the cry of a night bird. In this quiet hour, you embody mystery and magic. You are the living bridge between earth and sky, between the mortal world and the divine. Your gaze sweeps the horizon, steady and patient. The ancient myths and the stars themselves rest within you. And as the night deepens, you settle once more into shadow and silence, ready to awaken again with the dawn. The sun rises slowly over the horizon, painting the sky with soft hues of amber, rose, and gold. Light spills gently across the Nile's calm waters, shimmering in quiet ripples. You feel the warmth on your fur as the day begins once more. Breathing deeply, you stretch, long limbs extending, claws flexing softly. Your spine curves gracefully, a wave of calm energy flowing through your body. Your eyes blink slowly, heavy with the soft light of dawn. The temple stirs with gentle motion. The priests begin their rituals, moving with steady hands and measured steps. Bowls are arranged, incense lit, voices rise in low, soothing chants. The rhythm of their prayers flows like a river, steady and eternal. You weave between shadows, paws pressing softly on stone floors warmed by the sun. Your tail curls in quiet contentment, a slow, steady sway. The river flows endlessly, bringing life, carrying stories, shaping the land. Water laps gently against the banks, caressing reeds and lotus blossoms. The sound is constant and comforting, a soft murmur that carries the weight of time. The city breathes in harmony with the river's pulse. Children's laughter rings in the air like delicate bells. The scent of baked bread mingles with fragrant herbs, floating softly on the breeze. You settle into a patch of sunlit stone. Your breath evens out, a gentle rhythm that matches the world around you. Your purr rises softly, a steady hum of contentment and peace. The day unfolds in quiet cycles. Tasks begin and end with ritual grace. Bread is baked, prayers are whispered, offerings placed with care. The sun arcs slowly across the sky, dipping toward the horizon as warmth fades to cool. As twilight deepens, lanterns flicker to life, casting golden pools of light. Shadows dance gently on temple walls. The scent of lotus and myrrh lingers, wrapping the evening in calm. You stretch once more, long and slow, before curling into a tight ball. Your eyes close softly, but your senses remain alert, tuned to the subtle sounds of night. Stars scatter across the velvet sky, steady and serene. The river's gentle murmur continues, a lullaby for the world. You breathe in time with the cycles of life, sunrise, ritual, river, rest. The rhythm of ancient Egypt flows through you, steady and unending. And as sleep gently claims you, your purr becomes the heartbeat of this timeless land. The serene world of Koi. The morning arrives slowly. Above the mountains of Japan, the first light begins to stir, soft and pale, like breath on cool glass. It stretches across the sky in quiet brushstrokes of amber and silver, warming the chill from the night before. Beneath the sky, nestled in a secluded courtyard framed by bamboo and stone, a garden pond waits in stillness. There is no rush here, no hurry to the light, no urgency in the wind, just the quiet rhythm of the earth waking up. Mist clings low to the water's surface, curling around the rocks like a gentle sigh. The garden is hushed, save for the occasional rustle of wind moving through pine needles or the distant call of a morning bird. The stone lanterns, placed carefully along the pond's edge, catch the early light, their edges softened by years and moss. And then beneath the surface, there is motion. Slow and smooth, the koi have begun to stir. From the shadowed depths of the pond, they rise like living brushstrokes, bright ribbons of color gliding through water. Red, white, gold, black. Their bodies shine beneath the ripples like polished stones, each movement deliberate, each turn slow and effortless. They do not dart or flash. They drift. One by one, they emerge into the light, moving with the grace of something ancient and unbothered. Their fins fan like silken sleeves, their tails swaying with the rhythm of water. Even the smallest movement sends ripples across the surface, soft concentric circles that shimmer and fade. You could watch them for hours. Their patterns are hypnotic, as though nature herself dipped a brush into the sunrise and painted each fish by hand. Some bear crimson blotches like petals scattered across snow. Others carry streaks of ebony and gold or wear pearlescent scales that flash like moonlight on porcelain. In Japan, they are more than fish. They are symbols, living spirits of patience, of strength, of calm determination. For centuries, the koi has been revered as a creature of peace and purpose, resilient, enduring, and beautiful. They are known as nishikige, brocaded carp, a name that evokes something more than biology, something adorned, revered, cherished. They have no need to rush, no need to chase or flee. Their lives are slow and balanced, woven into the stillness of the pond, the rhythm of the seasons, and the quiet breath of the garden itself. To watch a koi is to feel your own breath slow, to feel your thoughts soften, to remember that there is a kind of wisdom in silence and a kind of power in stillness. The garden around them remains quiet. Stones, placed long ago by a careful hand, mark the edges of paths that wind through moss and over water. A small arched bridge stretches across one corner of the pond, its wooden frame worn smooth by time and footsteps. Bamboo stalks sway gently in the morning breeze, their thin green leaves whispering like distant wind chimes. Sunlight deepens, and the mist begins to lift. The koi move toward the surface, drawn to the warmth. They gather near the edge where the water meets the stone, hovering like painted leaves on a slow-moving stream. Their mouths open and close in soft rhythm, taking in the world one quiet moment at a time. Some brush against one another with gentle nudges, moving together in slow synchrony, never chaotic, always fluid. In Japan, to tend to koi is a kind of meditation. Gardeners arrive with measured steps, their movements as quiet as the fish themselves. They sweep fallen leaves from the water's edge, prune the branches that lean too far, and offer a pinch of food to the koi, who rise without frenzy, simply drifting up to greet the hand, accepting, and then gliding away. In this space, everything moves slowly. Everything has its time. You sit by the pond, the stone beneath you warmed by the growing sun. You feel the breath of the wind on your skin, the scent of wet earth, of pine and blooming iris. And before you, the koi continue to move, silent, smooth, shining. They ask nothing. They require no story, no sound, only your presence, only your stillness. They are the rhythm of the morning, the spirit of water, the embodiment of peace. And as the day slowly unfolds, as light filters through the garden and the world begins to wake, the koi continue their silent journey beneath the surface, gliding, turning, disappearing into shadow and light. Always moving, never hurried. Forever calm. The koi you see gliding through the water today are the result of a long, quiet transformation. A journey that began not in the stillness of garden ponds, but in the muddy streams and rice paddies of ancient Asia. Long ago, thousands of years before koi adorned royal gardens or inspired poetry, they were simply wild carp. Common, unassuming creatures, hardy and plain. But humans, patient and observant, began to notice something unusual. A fish here or there, glinting with gold. A flash of white among the brown. A suggestion of color beneath the murk. And so, across generations, those brighter fish were selected, bred with care, and brought closer to home. Slowly, deliberately, the wild carp began to change. From those ancient origins, the koi was born. Nishikiga, the brocaded carp. Today, the koi carries the legacy of that transformation in its every movement. No longer the muddy, fast-swimming fish of rushing rivers, but a creature of still water and quiet elegance. A being bred not for speed or strength, but for beauty, grace, and serenity. Their bodies are broad and strong, built not to slice through currents, but to glide with ease through still ponds. Each movement is slow, deliberate, never jerky, never rushed. They twist gently through the water like silk in wind, their long fins trailing behind them like ribbons. Their scales are something else entirely, a living mosaic, red like lacquered wood, white like rice paper, gold like morning sunlight on a bell, black as deep ink. Some koi are patterned in bold contrasts, others in soft gradients, their markings inherited through careful generations of breeding. Each koi is unique, no two alike. Their color, shape, and markings are not just beautiful, they are meaningful. In Japan, koi are often named and classified by their patterns. Kohaku, white with red markings. Senk, white with red and black. Agon, solid gold. Showa, a bold interplay of all three. Some koi are small, gentle creatures no longer than a child's forearm. Others grow to surprising lengths, reaching over 2 or even 3 feet when kept in the right conditions. And those conditions matter, because koi are not wild anymore. They depend on the ponds they inhabit, their world carefully balanced by human hands. A well-designed koi pond is not just a body of water. It is a living environment, crafted with care. The water must be clear, not stagnant. Oxygen must flow. A pump may hum softly beneath the surface, hidden by stones, keeping the water moving like a heartbeat beneath calm skin. Shade is offered by gently arching plants, lotus, lily, reeds. Rocks form underwater ledges, giving the koi places to hide or rest. Shallow areas allow sunlight to warm their backs. Deeper spots keep them cool when summer grows hot. The pond becomes not just a space, but a sanctuary. And here, koi live long, quiet lives. A healthy koi in a well-tended pond can live for decades. 20, 30, even 50 years is not unusual. Some are passed down through generations, becoming family treasures. The oldest koi on record, a pale gray female named Hanako, lived for more than 200 years, her scales carefully tested and dated by scientists. Imagine that. A life spent drifting beneath cherry blossoms and moonlight, fed by hand, watched with love. Koi are intelligent, too, gentle and aware. They recognize their keepers, rising to the surface when a familiar hand approaches. Some will eat from open palms. Others follow footsteps along the edge of the pond, curious and calm. They are social, though not in noisy ways. They swim together, loosely grouped, rarely alone. If one koi finds something interesting, a patch of algae, a shaded nook, others soon follow. Their movements are choreographed without intention, flowing as if connected by an unseen thread. Even their feeding is quiet. No frenzied splashing. No snapping. Just slow ascents, mouths gently opening beneath the surface, accepting what is offered. A koi's mouth has no teeth, only soft pads inside the throat, meant for grinding, not tearing. They eat simple things. Pond plants, insects, bits of floating food. In cooler months, they eat less. In winter, almost nothing at all. Their metabolism slows with the water's temperature, and they drift into a kind of rest, still, silent, waiting. And always their movements remain the same, gentle, deliberate, untroubled. They have no reason to rush, no predator to fear. Only the calm of their surroundings, the patience of their keepers, and the quiet song of water flowing around them. To share space with a koi is to slow down, to let go, to remember that not all beauty is loud, not all wisdom speaks quickly. The koi does not chase the world. It simply moves through it with grace, with peace, with purpose. And in watching them, we begin to remember that we can do the same. The koi is more than a fish. It is a story told through water and time, a quiet legend living and moving just beneath the surface. In Japanese culture, the koi is a symbol of persistence, of quiet strength, of unwavering will. It is a creature that swims upstream against the current, not because it must, but because it chooses to. Not for survival alone, but for something more, to grow, to change, to become. And from that image, of the lone koi swimming with tireless grace against the pull of water, an old legend was born. The koi that became a dragon. They say that long ago, in the far reaches of a wide and ancient river, there was a waterfall. Tall and narrow, it roared like thunder, fed by snowmelt from distant peaks. Many fish swam in that river, hundreds, thousands, glittering in the light, but none dared to climb the waterfall. The force of the water was too great, too strong. It pushed back against anything that tried to rise. But one koi, small, golden, and unassuming, did not turn away. Day after day it leapt, over and over, struggling upward, slipping, falling, and returning again. The other fish watched from below, amused. Some mocked, others simply drifted with the current. But the little koi continued. Hours passed, then days, then seasons, until one autumn morning it leapt with all its strength and finally crested the top of the waterfall. The gods were watching. Moved by the koi's determination, they transformed it into a shining dragon, a being of immense power and wisdom. Its scales turned to fire and storm, and it rose into the sky, no longer bound to the river. Since then, the koi has been seen not just as a fish, but as a symbol of transformation. The child who endures hardship and grows strong, the soul that climbs despite being pushed down, the quiet spirit that refuses to give up. In Japan, this story lives in quiet places, told to children beneath sakura trees, whispered in temples, painted on scrolls, and flown high above rooftops. Children's Day and the Koinobori. Every spring, in early May, a gentle breeze flows through the towns and countryside of Japan. On balconies and in gardens, tall bamboo poles are raised, and from them streamers flutter in the wind, not just any streamers, but koi made of fabric and bright color. Red, blue, black, gold. They swim through the sky, lifted not by water but by air. These are koinobori, koi banners. They are flown for Kodomo no Hai, or Children's Day, a holiday that honors the health, happiness, and growth of children. Each koi streamer represents a member of the family. The largest, black koi, is the father. The red or pink one is the mother. The smaller koi, trailing below, are the children, each one fluttering freely, rising and falling with the breeze. The koi remind every family that strength is not loud, that courage is quiet and patient, that even small hearts can swim upstream. As the wind flows through the valleys and cities, the koinobori dance above rooftops like spirits of water and sky, blessing those below with resilience, perseverance, and joy. Koi as a symbol of good fortune. In art and tradition, koi are everywhere. Carved into temple stones, painted on porcelain dishes, stitched into silken robes. Their shapes are stylized, fluid, sometimes simple, sometimes intricate. But always they carry the same meaning: luck, longevity, and prosperity. A koi pond in a garden is not just decoration. It is a place of spiritual balance. The stillness of the water invites calm. The motion of the fish invites reflection. To sit beside koi is to feel time slow, to feel connected to the flow of life. In Japanese businesses, koi may appear in statues or prints, symbols of success earned through patience. They are said to bring wealth, not through greed, but through steady, thoughtful effort. You may see them depicted in ukiyo-e woodblock prints, elegant and stylized, swimming through bold waves or leaping above stormy waters. Even in modern tattoos and art, the koi remains a potent symbol of transformation and purpose. Because the koi is not loud, it does not roar or fly unless it earns its wings. It glides quietly, steadily, but it never turns away from the current. And so, people see themselves in the koi, the mother who works through the night, the student who tries again, the farmer who waits for rain, the artist who paints without applause, all climbing their own waterfalls, all carrying the soul of the koi within them. There is a quiet philosophy that lives in Japanese gardens, a philosophy not spoken, but felt in the curve of a stone, the bend of a branch, the space between things. It is the belief that beauty lies not in excess, but in balance. That serenity comes not from silence alone, but from the careful composition of sound, space, and light. And in the center of many of these gardens is water, still, reflective, alive, a pond, and within the pond, koi. Not added as decoration, but as essential parts of the whole, moving elements of a living artwork. In a garden designed to cultivate peace, koi are not guests, they are part of the soul. Koi in the heart of the Zen garden. In Zen Buddhist tradition, the garden is more than landscape. It is a space for meditation, a mirror of nature and a mirror of the mind. You walk the stone path slowly. Each step is deliberate. The air is cool and green with the scent of moss. Water flows softly nearby, not loud, not still, but gently murmuring like breath. The koi are waiting. You approach the pond's edge. Its surface reflects the sky, broken only by the widening rings of a ripple or the slow gliding motion of a koi just beneath. The fish do not rush. They move as though time flows differently in water. Their bodies flash gold beneath a bamboo's shadow. Their fins trail behind them, silent veils of silk. As you watch, your thoughts begin to soften. You match your breath to their rhythm in and out, in and out. They are teachers of stillness, living reminders of presence. Their very movement encourages stillness in the observer. In many Kairsensui gardens, dry Zen gardens of raked sand and stone, the koi are implied, not visible. Their flowing path is mirrored in the raked lines, in the gentle spirals carved around a single standing stone. But in Chisen gardens, where ponds are central, the koi themselves take form. Here, they bring motion to stillness, color to simplicity, life to contemplation. The design of a koi pond. In a traditional Japanese pond, nothing is accidental. The placement of each rock, the slope of the bank, the way light hits the surface in the early morning hours. These choices are made not only for beauty, but for the comfort of the koi and for the harmony of the scene. Shallow edges allow for feeding and sunning. Deeper waters provide refuge and coolness. Stones break up the pond's shape, forming islands and passageways, both for the koi to explore and for the eye to follow. Plants rise at the edges, reeds, lotus, water lilies, their leaves casting shifting shadows across the water. Fallen petals drift on the surface, soft as dreams, and are nudged gently aside by the koi as they pass. A stone lantern watches quietly from the shore. Its presence is ancient, unmoving, but the koi below it shimmer with life. The contrast is intentional, the eternal and the ephemeral, the fixed and the flowing, balanced in a single frame. Even the sounds are chosen. The distant splash of a bamboo water spout, the soft rustle of wind through maple leaves, the quiet kiss of a fish mouth breaking the surface. This is not decoration, this is harmony, and within it the koi swims as both centerpiece and spirit, koi in art and imagination. The garden, of course, is only one canvas. Beyond the pond, the koi has flowed into every corner of Japanese art, not as a simple fish, but as a symbol, a story, a form to be reimagined again and again. In woodblock prints of the Edo period, koi are often shown leaping through stylized waves, their bodies twisted midair. In these images, the energy of the koi is dramatic, wild water, bold color, strength caught in motion. But in other art they are gentle, painted in still water floating among lotus blooms. Inked in single brushstrokes, their curves fluid and restrained. Sewn into kimonos, woven into tapestries, engraved on tea bowls and lacquered boxes. Every artist brings out something different in the koi: courage, peace, transformation, grace. You might find them carved into the eaves of a shrine, or painted across a folding screen, or printed on a fan that folds open like the petals of a peony. They are present in poetry, too, especially the short, fleeting beauty of haiku. Quiet pond below. A single koi turns gently. Autumn moon above. Such verses do not explain. They reflect. Like the pond itself, they offer the reader a still surface in which to see themselves. Even in modern Japan, the koi endures. Its image adorns homes, gardens, and tattoos, not as a fashion, but as a quiet wish. A wish for balance, for strength, for beauty that grows with time, a living art. Perhaps more than any other creature, the koi exists between two worlds, nature and artifice. It is a living being, but it has been shaped by human hands. Bred, cared for, and painted upon the canvas of gardens and dreams. And yet, it remains wild in spirit. It moves as it chooses. It grows at its own pace. It glides beneath the surface of the garden pond, unbothered by time, untouched by noise. It is not tamed, it is respected. To sit beside a koi pond is to become part of that art. You, the stone, you, the tree, you, the still surface. And as you breathe, as you watch, the koi passes beneath your reflection, reminding you that movement and peace can live together. That silence is not emptiness. That beauty, like water, flows. And that even in the most carefully made garden, life continues, slow, graceful, and free. In Japan, where mountains breathe mist and rivers carve valleys with time's slow hand, the koi is more than a fish. It is a symbol and a story. It is a living myth drifting between the physical and the unseen, between the world of water and the world of dreams. To watch a koi is to witness patience, to feel presence, to remember that the smallest movement can carry the weight of centuries. In many spiritual traditions, water is the boundary, the veil between worlds. Beneath its surface lies memory, transformation, and the unseen, and the koi glides effortlessly through it, between light and dark, between the known and the unknown. The koi is not just an inhabitant of ponds and rivers, it is a bridge, a quiet traveler between the human and the divine. The tale of the waterfall revisited, a gentle retelling. Long ago in the high lands where the river narrows and climbs, there was a waterfall so steep, so unyielding, that nothing could pass. Its roar echoed across the cliffs, cold, constant, impossible. Fish gathered at its base. They came on currents, on instinct, and when they reached it, they turned back, again and again, all but one. One koi, no different from the rest in size or strength, began to leap. The first try ended in a fall, as did the second, and the third. The waterfall gave no mercy. The current pulled hard and the rocks were smooth with age. But the koi did not stop. It leapt again and again. Seasons changed. Leaves fell and returned. Storms came and passed. The koi grew no larger, no faster, only more certain. The others had long since swum away, but the koi remained. Until one morning, when the mist was still and the light of the rising sun cast gold across the water, the koi made its final leap and passed through. At the top of the falls there was no applause, no trumpet of triumph, only quiet, only sky, but the gods had seen. Moved by the koi's will, its refusal to surrender to the current, they honored its spirit. And with a breath, they transformed it into a dragon, not with fire or thunder, but with stillness. Its fins became wings, its scales clouds, its path the open sky. And from that day, the koi has been a symbol not just of change, but of earned transformation, not of easy luck, but of deep perseverance, of climbing inward, not outward. The koi does not become a dragon in a day, it becomes one through patience, through quiet, sacred effort, the koi's spiritual lessons. To the Japanese mind, deeply influenced by Shinto and Buddhist philosophy, the world is alive. Spirits known as kami dwell in stones, trees, rivers, and wind. Everything carries meaning. Everything speaks if we listen. And the koi is one of those sacred voices. It teaches without sound. It teaches through movement, through rhythm, through stillness. It shows us that power can be gentle, that strength does not always shout, that transformation is not sudden but slow and deeply earned. You may find koi in temple ponds where monks pass in silence. You may find them near shrines where wishes are written on paper and tied to pine trees. Their presence is not loud, it is calming, constant, as if to say, "This too shall pass, and when it does you will still be here." The koi swims through seasons, through storms, through droughts, and it swims through grief and through joy. It teaches the flow of life itself, that nothing stays, that everything moves, that we too can rise, koi in the flow of time. In Zen, there is a belief that enlightenment is not a flash of light, but a return to the present, a stillness, a release. The koi is always present. It does not dwell in past falls or future leaps. It glides through this breath and then the next. It turns when it needs to turn. It rests when the water stills. It moves when the current calls. And in doing so, it becomes not just part of nature, but a guide to understanding it. As the philosopher Dogen once said, to study the self is to forget the self. To forget the self is to be one with all things. The koi does not carry its name. It does not ask what it means to be koi. It simply is. It lives in harmony with the water that carries it. And yet, when the time comes, it swims against it. That paradox of yielding and resisting is the essence of spiritual strength, a symbol for all who struggle. Today, in gardens and stories, the koi remains a quiet companion for those on their own journeys. Children learning to grow, parents learning to let go, artists learning to trust the brush, grievers learning to wake up again. The koi lives within them, not as a fish, but as a reminder that the climb is worth it, that what seems impossible may only be incomplete, that beneath still water swims a quiet hope, waiting to rise. The garden is quiet now, still, open, timeless. The pond lies in the center as it always has, not demanding attention, but simply existing. A mirror for the sky above, for the branches reaching over its edge, and for the hearts of those who sit beside it. The koi are gliding just beneath the surface. Slowly, gracefully, their bodies move with the rhythm of the world itself, gentle, constant, flowing. They do not disturb the water, they belong to it. They pass like whispers beneath lily leaves and shifting clouds, trailing calm in their wake. One koi turns, then another, and with each movement, the surface ripples outward, circles within circles, fading quietly, returning to stillness. This is the way of the pond. This is the way of time. Seasons pass through the garden, one after another, like dreams following dreams. Spring comes with blossoms, soft petals drifting from cherry trees, caught on the surface of the water like memories. The koi rise gently beneath them, curious, slow, brushing their fins through falling pink snow. The air is scented with new growth. The world begins again. Summer arrives heavy and green, the days long, the air warm. Rain falls in slow rhythms, tapping the pond's surface like a drum in no hurry to end. Koi shelter beneath leaves, resting in the cool shadows of rocks. Their movements grow slower, deeper, the heat thickens. Still they glide. Autumn follows with fire, maples ablaze in red and gold. Leaves spiral down and land upon the water, floating like lanterns. The pond reflects their color. The koi, too, seem touched by it, their red scales brighter, their gold richer, as if the season has settled into them. They move with a gentle weight, knowing change is near. And then comes winter. The pond grows quiet. The surface may freeze at the edges. The plants grow still. The air sharpens. The koi retreat to the bottom, moving very little, breathing slowly. The world seems to pause, but beneath it all life remains, unseen but present, resting, waiting, becoming like the koi. The seasons move, but the pond remains. The world changes, but the koi continue. And in that quiet, something is revealed, something soft and strong and eternal. The koi are not hurrying. They are not chasing. They are not worried by what the garden will bring next. They are simply here, now, this moment, and then the next, and the one after that. Their presence is a lesson written in water. That stillness is not weakness. That moving slowly is not falling behind. That drifting, when done with purpose, is not the same as being lost. They remind us that we too are part of this rhythm. We rise and fall, we bloom and rest. We endure, we begin again. So now listen, breathe. The wind moves gently through the bamboo. A single leaf drops from above and lands soundlessly on the surface. A koi glides beneath it, sending soft ripples across the reflection of the sky. The water closes behind it. Everything is whole again. Everything is in its place. And you sitting by this pond, whether in memory, in dream, or in quiet listening, are part of it too. Your breath is the wind. Your heartbeat is the water. Your thoughts are leaves floating down to rest. Let them rest. Let the koi carry them. Let yourself drift not away but deeper, into stillness, into silence, into peace. The koi are still swimming, the water still flows, and in this moment that is enough, that is all, that is everything.